Hey guys, this is Simon with Trade and Perform Coaching. Going to do a quick trade review of Friday and how it worked out. Um, I want to address something very quickly at the beginning, and I want to talk about fear in trading. What everyone is scared of when you're a day trader, what do you not want to do? You don't want to blow up, and you don't want to miss the trade, right? You either have FOMO, fear of missing out, right, or you have what I call blowing up fear, where you're afraid your account's just going to go straight to zero. How do we address this? Well, I think, and again, going back to sharing knowledge that's already out there and easily attained, right? Mark Douglas, right, the disciplined trader, he addresses this right out of the gate in his book. I'm looking here on page 70, and he says something very quickly. He goes, to be able to make some kind of quality distinctions that will eventually develop into a vision of the broader perspective, you will need to learn how to expand your time frame perspective of market activity. There's two components to this process that are important. One, instituting a completely disciplined trading approach. That's called a written trade plan, guys, where you know you have a proven edge, right? And two, learning how to release yourself from negative emotional energy stored in memories of any past trading experiences, particularly negative past trading experience, right? And then he goes, the disciplined approach will naturally help you develop the degree of self-trust essential to function effectively in an environment that does not provide any external constraints to limit or control your behavior, as society does, right? You want to go speeding down a highway, Mr. Policeman's going to stop you. You want to go rob a bank, police are going to respond, right? You want to yell fire in the theater, that's illegal, right? There's constraints on all our behavior, but not in the market. Market's one of the few places. You want to start clicking and losing all your money? I'll sit on the other side of you and collect your money all day long. I have no issue with it, right? Mark goes on to say, without the discipline, you will be at the mercy of your own unrestrained impulses and basically out of control. Who here hasn't felt that way who's a day trader at some point? I know I have, right? And it sucks, right? He goes on to say, consequently, without the self-trust that develops from self-discipline, i.e., following your trade plan like your very life counts on it, you will fear the unpredictability of your own behavior, right? Almost sounds like Yoda there, right? You will be. You will be. At any rate, sorry, I went off on Star Wars on y'all. A little Star Wars geek hides within me. So, at the same time, you will likely project this fear, right? And that's the fear, essentially, he goes on to say, you'll fear the unpredictability of your own behavior, right? We've all been there. I've clicked. I didn't take my trade where I was supposed to. I got in late. I exited early. I got scared. I took it for 2 ticks and watched it go for 10 points. We've all been there, right? And he goes, at the same time, you will likely project this fear into the market as being erratic and seemingly unpredictable when, in actuality, it's your own behavior you fear the most. What am I trying to do with all this stuff? I'm trying to protect myself from myself, right? And I'm trying to protect y'all from yourself. Our minds can be cruel taskmasters in trading. So how do we fix that? We have trading rules. What's my first trading rule that saves me in the market in case the market opens up and plunges into the depths of hell? I don't trade the first 30 minutes. If I see an open drive lower, I completely sidestep the first hour most of the time, right? That's my first rule. What's my number 2 rule that keeps me alive, guys? 2 stops, back to back, or a loss of more than 8 ES points, I stop for the day. That's it. I know I can go for a long string of time, right, without that destroying my account. Will I be bummed? Will I be pissed? Will I be upset? All the above, right? I'll get back to center pretty quickly, but those will be the initial emotions. But my account will survive. Number 2 issue that's very important, right? I know from looking at my spreadsheets that I almost never have 2 days back to back where I have 2 stops back to back. It's survivable for me. I know it is in my heart of hearts. I don't have to fear my own behavior. So let's go through Friday morning. We gap down. We were able to fill the half gap right here, right? We're unable to get back above Thursday's low. And then pretty soon we're trading back below the first 5-minute low. This tells me a couple of things. First of all, I know when we're not able to get back above Thursday's low, sellers are in firm control still of the market, right? If buyers had been in firm control, we would have opened and had one of those glorious ricochet moves that we've had in the past 6 months, right? The first 6 months of the year, open, gap down, shoot straight up. Who didn't love it? Who didn't make a lot of money? Well, I can tell you the guys who are still trying to ride that train are getting their butts thoroughly handed to them right now, right? What's the next thing that I'm waiting for? I know my zones are slightly compromised in this environment. I'm waiting for a swing long. In the first 30 minutes, this green bar right here is where my proprietary swing indicator gave me a buy signal. There's 4 points from which I can take a trade. I've done a video on it. I'm not going to go through them all here, but basically this is how it works. Come down, swing back up, entry 1, 50-60 retrace is entry 2. If there's a zone below, that's entry 3. And then the one that I'm really waiting for is a trap back in to give me entry number 4. Now, there's a little trick to this. My mind has to be operating well in order for me to capture this trade, right? So I still have to stay calm and read the information. And I actually probably got a little too aggressive on Friday morning. Did I survive? Let's find out. So what I'm going to do is take this chart, which I already have over here. I'm going to drag it over here. This is that same chart. And I know this is where my entry number 4 occurred. I know this is probably the closest structure I have. So what I want to see is I know that what happened right away is, first of all, I didn't get a 50-60 retrace, right? My long printed, I didn't get any kind of retrace, so there's no entry number 2. And then it came essentially from 2014.50, which is where my number 1 entry was. I did not take futures there, right? I wanted it a little bit deeper. I really wanted to see trap number 4. That's what we were looking for in the room. And it goes up to 2022. Well, that's 8 points worth of rotation. Is that 8 points? That's right. 8 points worth of rotation to the upside. Am I mad that I didn't get it? No. I wish I'd gotten it. It's kind of like, ah, shucks, I wish I got it. But importantly, I didn't need to chase it. I didn't need to get upset. Why? I know I have another trade coming up. But let me tell you where I screwed up. We're deep in the hole here, right? I don't want to say I screwed up. Got overly aggressive. That's probably the right word. So I'm looking for a new trap point for what I would refer to as 4B, right? Because my swing long is still in effect here. So I come down here, and normally I wait for 15 minutes for a new structure to be determined, or that this is structure. Well, I had 10 minutes worth of structure develop, and I said, well, if we close below and close back in, that's my signal to go long. I was just too eager to capture the long side trade. We close below this bar right here. We close back in. I think because I'm a little overly aggressive, that's my long side trade. I take the trade at 2006. My stop is 1 point below the swing low, which actually in this particular case was about 201.75, and it was roughly a 4 to 4.5 point stop. 2006, and let's see where the stop would have been. Let's just draw it out. This is swing low. 2003 is the low, so 2002 would have been the stop. It was a 4 point stop exactly. That would have been my stop point. Well, obviously I get immediately stopped. I feel bad, right? But let's go through what my options were here. A, even if I hadn't been overly aggressive, let's say this is just a normal stop. What were my choices at this point? I could have moved my stop back. A lot of people will go, oh, let me move my stop back to negotiate. Well, in order to survive this trade and get back to flat, I was going to have to move my stop back approximately, let's just call it 15 points. Wow, that's a great way to destroy an account. I'm not going to do it, right? If I come into my feeling of I screwed up and I'm going to get angry, maybe I'm going to force a short down here. Maybe I'm going to get very upset. What do I do instead? I just go right back to the drawing board and I go, okay, it stopped. My swing long is still in effect. Let me find my next structure. And sure enough, this time, I'm not going to make the same mistake twice, right? I get my 15 minutes worth of structure right here, and I announce the ruin. If we close above 1994.25, right? That's my swing long, what I'm looking for. We get long at 1996.25. And then I give very specific instructions. The majority of the first half of the scale of the contracts, meaning if I have 10 contracts, I want to scale 4 of them at 1999. Immediately done. But I made one decision that was very, very interesting. I let my fear get to me a little bit, actually. I didn't want to take a second stop. I almost never lose on the first trade. It's very, very rare. And I said, you know what? It's a really volatile day. This is really hard. We're melting straight down. I'm taking longs while we're melting straight down. Let me make an adjustment. What's the adjustment that I make? I come in and I say I'm going to take half size so that I can take a trade in the afternoon if I get stopped out again. Well, I get my 19.99 on half size. Then I tweet out on the private Twitter stream, scale heavy 2002 and 3/4. I scale heavy at 2002 3/4. Move stops to break even. Well, I have very little left. It comes back and I obviously get stopped out. At this point, I'm down 1.25 for the day, and I leave. Let me tell you why that was looking back, I was like, oh, wish I didn't leave. If you look, we push back down to the low of the day, and then we trap back in again, and it rotates all the way back up, right? I don't do anything about it. I was gone for lunch when this occurred, and Dr. Brett Steenbarger is so clear. You can only make so many good decisions in a day. I had done a really good job to this point. Let's look at what I did. I didn't get run over at the open. I didn't chase up here, right? I didn't get my fill, didn't chase. Did I execute the first half of the trade correctly? Yes, I didn't chase. I didn't get run over. I'm very pleased. Probably made an over-aggressive error in here. It's pretty rare for me to do it, but I did it. Did I lose my composure? No. I took my stop. I didn't move my stop. The only thing I could have done on this trade by moving my stop was make the situation worse. Stayed right on top of it. And then lastly, this is the hard part. Did I have the heart? Did I have the heart to take the trade and execute it properly when my next trade set up? Dr. Steenbarger, Brett Steenbarger at Steenbab talks about this all the time. Do you have the ability to take the next setup? I did, right? I can't tell you how hard it is for people when they're down on the day to take your next right setup. You are caught emotionally between, I don't want to be down anymore, I want to make up the money I lost, and somehow magically I should have known that, never mind for the last 3 years, every time we're down 20 to 25 points, we shoot up. I should have known magically that today, as a day trader, I should short down 25 in a hole. Come on. Let's be nice to ourselves, right? I did a good job in here. I'm down 1.25. I'm 1.25 off my all-time high, my year-to-date high, while the market's 10% in the hole. I'm a leveraged trader. If the market's down 10% and I screw this up, I can be down 20, 30, 40%. And I guarantee you there's people out there that are day traders that already, they don't have to worry about the market crashing. They already blew the crap out of their own account. Okay, so finally, and I'm going to leave it with this because I've surpassed the amount of time. I did not get this trap back in, and no other trades triggered for me. I did have a trade develop here at the very end of the day. I said if we closed back above this 1976 level right in here, I had a swing long going that you should be able to get a move to the upside. You were able to get 4 points of scale on this trade. However, I didn't take it. Why? The market got extremely thin and quote-unquote flashy, and I didn't want to get wiped out. I trade enough size that if it got too thin and it got run, I could really get hurt. I've got to sidestep those markets. It was just a business decision is all it was. And not only that, but I know that I'll have another market going forward that I'll be able to trade. So, all that being said, and by the way, I said we could get to 1950 just as easily as we can get to 1970, right? And if you look this evening, low of the evening is currently trading, let me look at my dumb, 1950.50, right? And if you look, what I just tweeted out earlier this evening was that my support resistance zones were, well, I don't even know what I tweeted out. Let me see if I can pull that up here. I said I have 1948.25 to 1950.25, followed by 1939.25 to 1941.25. Knowing your trade location, knowing your setups, knowing what you're doing is massively, massively helpful, guys. I can't stress that enough. My name is Simon. I'm with Trade and Perform Coaching. Know what you're doing. Have a written trade plan. Have a line in the sand for any given day. Get a mentor. Get a trading coach, okay, so that you can succeed. Don't be a victim. Don't blow up your account. Don't be like what I call normal, which is what normal is in the retail futures trading business. Find a way to get consistent, and until you have that way, don't risk your capital. Spend time learning. I'm a big advocate. This is an endless stream of opportunities. You don't have to push it from day one to make money, guys. My name is Simon. Have a great night, guys. I'm going to go get ready for tomorrow. Talk to you later.